Legacy. I mean, in simplest terms, the first thing I think of is what you leave behind.
Dr. King was quite a radical.
At such a young age, fighting on the front lines, putting his life on the line, and he was a dad.
As much as other people supported the movement, as much as he was not just a one-man army, right? He had a flood of people around him. As much as he was flawed and maybe was lifted up as being this perfect figure, he still was the one out front. He still was the one who sacrificed and was martyred for the movement. I mean, he was the martyr. He stood in the gap for Black people in particular and, you know, America generally.
The fact that this was his dream, I mean, that's always he said over and over, this is my dream, and how he brought that into fruition. You know, it's his dream. It wasn't like, you know, it's what he felt, and it's what his whole life, the culmination of his life was about this dream, and how if you have deep convictions, about really deep convictions, you can bring anything into fruition, and how his dream, you know, kind of really impacted my life.
He wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid of the struggle. You can't win if you're afraid. You can't be afraid.
We can use Dr. King's speech to talk about what is now the 21st century Black American dream. What's it going to look like?
Think about just the character part is really, that stands out to me. And his, like, when he's thinking about his kids, okay, the future. You know, he's what he's living for now will affect his kids, and how important that was. And so I think about me too, like what kind of legacy will I leave my kids? You know, not living for now, but, you know, what will I leave them? What I do now should be for them.
My dream for my family is just to have financial freedom, you know, good health, you know, education, strong education, you know, try to create more creative minds, you know, within my family.
What kind of dream do I have of America? That we would all be accepted, and it really wouldn't matter what our race was or ethnicity.
That whole day was a fight for the opportunity to show that we have the character, and I think that's what kind of makes me kind of sad in some levels about where we are today.
I'm just worried about Black boys right now, Black young men. Yeah. It's a worry for me. Maybe it's because I go visit my son and there's so many. I'm afraid for them because they're a target.
How do we protect ourselves and still be advocates?
Every era, every moment has an urgent evil, an urgent ill to fight against. I mean, that to me, I can't be overstated. The urgency of the moment.
To me, I think about the march in general, and the march for rights, the march for jobs. I mean, it was the desire for opportunity. Because we all need an opportunity to show what we can do.
You know, equality, no matter what you are, what color you are, you know what I mean? You can have whatever you want to have in life, you know what I mean? And provide opportunities, pathways for that. Not just saying, okay, you can have this, show us a way we can, you know, we can get to, you know, to the millions of dollars or to the nice homes or the nice cars or whatever, you know, you might not even want that, but whatever it is, love, happiness, whatever you want in life, show us the way, you feel me? That's what I feel like a good leader should be to this day right now.
We're important. You know, Martin Luther King wanted us to know that we're important. We deserve to vote. We deserve not to be in jail. You know, we're important. And even, you know, when we do wrong, I know we have to pay for the things that we do wrong, but at whose price? And who decides how long we pay?
When they wrote the 3/5 compromise, they had them in mind. When they made the Dred Scott decision, Black Americans were in mind. When they went with the Supreme Court's law of Japanese Americans, limiting immigration in the 1700s, the first immigration law that passed, it was keeping in mind of all of these groups. So when MLK stands in the forefront of getting that check back, that promised them the rights that have not been delivered to them, we the people, all of this. So who is we now? You obviously did not mean us when you wrote the text, but now we're asking you to include us. Because obviously you thought about us, you just did not include us. And MLK said if they're going to see us in the world as America, if they see the stuff that we produce as America, I want us to be part of that story. I want America to provide us that inclusion.
Black people made democracy real here, that real sense of democracy. And I think that black people will, at the end, will be the linchpin in American democracy. They made it real. You know, and keep on making it real. I think that what we're doing with Black Lives Matter now, all that stuff is more equitable space for black people in Western civilization.
Yeah.
I think it's got a fight to create in your own culture. Yeah, I think now by default it can be divided, you know, and even in our home to make sure we keep that too. That how important it is to be black, and how beautiful it is, and how special it is, and how hard it is to get to where we are, you know, and not to be lax, you know, about it. If you don't fight, it's easy to lose.
Not remaining complacent should be our goal, should be our strategy. That should be the overarching theme of whatever and it shouldn't stop at us. We should continue with future generation of Americans, I believe.
That's the call to action from MLK. He's saying that, you know, America wrote this check when they said, "We the people, all men are created equal." That was some rhetoric that America was never held accountable for. And so I think that he brought to the fore that disconnect. You know, it was so obvious around the world how blatant that disconnect was between our rhetoric and our action.
Not only just these men made sacrifices, but these women and the kids and everyone else made sacrifices too. And so at the end of the day, we ask is, what is it we're going to sacrifice? It's going to cost us something, right? Hopefully it's not our lives.
It's a powerful concept to be like, no, whatever we need to do, we need to do now. Whatever needs to happen, it needs to happen now. If we see our kids not being educated, we need to do something about it right now, today. And if we see, you know, police acting like criminals, we need to do something about it today. Because in the time that we wait, somebody suffers and somebody dies. And there's always real lives at stake. And I think that King recognized that there were real lives at stake, that these were life and death matters.
That's what we've got now to start planning, dreaming about. Dreaming about a world where we don't have to worry about this. That how do we dream about a world where black people can negotiate capitalism and do well with it? It's not going away. We got to go to work. We got to pay bills. We need safe communities. We need all those things. So how do we start now to imagine ourselves within Western civilization where our communities and stuff is safe without depending on, say, quote unquote, the institutions who are set against us?
So I guess my hope for America is really for one that would live up to the values that it espouses in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. I mean, that strive to be a more perfect union.
we ain't mounted up. We need to mount up.